What's good? What's good, my people? Hope you guys are well. What's all good? So let's get some more people in the stream. What's good? Evening. How's it going, Joe? How's it going? How's it going? Just waiting for some of you to join the stream, and then we can get this kick started. Okay, let's get going. What's going on? What's going on, Davey? I hope you're good. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Can't post messages some channels. Okay, Facebook personal profile. That's fine. Yeah, guys, we've got some news. Stephen Espinoza has said that the Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade fight is not happening. All good, brother. Looking forward to this, guys. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I haven't done a live in a while, so you know, I'm looking to get some of you on here as well, so we can chop up some boxing. I haven't had some of you guys doing good, buddy, doing good. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, man. I speak to you guys all the time on Messenger, so we're always talking boxing. Some of these guys though that are commenting on my channel, I never get to. I don't speak to them a lot, so it gives I think I'm going to start doing one live every week just to give you guys an opportunity to come onto the channel and give your opinion. I need to do it, just stay a bit more consistent, you know. I need to start becoming a lot more consistent with these lives, because these lives were really good, because some of them got really heated and got fiery at times. Yeah, I really enjoyed the lives, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely start getting these lives back on track. I'm on holiday now for a while, so I can do as many lives for the next couple of days. Especially in boxing now, there's a lot of news. Yeah, it would be good to share our group conversations to a larger audience, mate. Yeah, it would be. It would be. And also discuss in the lives what we talk about in private as well. But you know what? In boxing right now, there's a lot of stuff going off. Like, we potentially could have a huge announcement with Ben and Eubank. We could also, you know, like with this Canelo Golovkin stuff, the pay-per-view stuff in the UK, that's not been official yet, but there are news. I would love to know your guys' opinion about that Canelo Golovkin in the UK is apparently now going to be pay-per-view, which, you know, boxing is becoming very costly now. You know, we're having to pay a lot of money. The AJ Usyk fight, there's an increase in the Sky Sports pay-per-view there. And £10, even though it's only £10 for Canelo Golovkin, you know, we're already paying £8 a month for DAZN. It's all additional costs in boxing. And then just say if Tyson Fury comes back and has a fight on BT, for example, that's on pay-per-view as well. It just starts to add up. It gets very costly. And I think eventually fans like us are going to, fans like us are hardcore fans, so we'll continue watching, but a lot of the casuals will disappear, because like, you're not going to want to spend 20 quid on boxing if you're not that into it. You're only going to spend 20 quid on something if you're actually into it. Like, so that's very frustrating overall. We're paying a fortune compared to other sports. Yeah, it is. We are. We're now, the worst thing is now, Joe, before we used to pay for, like, say that you had to pay for Sky Sports. You have to pay for, you know, Sky Sports. But with Sky Sports, we got a lot of other things. We got football, cricket, etc. Now we're having to pay not just the subscription, but we're having to pay pay-per-view on top of that. That's a lot of money. So like DAZN, they've just got boxing. They haven't got no football. They haven't got anything, or anything that I'm interested in anyway. And we're having to pay £8 a month, and then we're having to pay extra for a big fight, which I said that DAZN wouldn't work because I didn't see how it was possible for them to be able to live on the model that they were, that, you know, £8 a month. How many, that's if you have like millions and millions of subscribers. There's no way you can afford to pay Anthony Joshua 30-40 million and charging £8 a month, because they're not going to have that many. How many subscribers would DAZN have? I don't think they'll have 1 million subscribers. So if they don't have 1 million subscribers, just say they have 500,000 subscribers. How much is that? If they have 500,000 subscribers and they're charging £8 a month, that's not a lot of money. When we think about it in the whole scheme, how are they going to pay for these big fights? So the only way that it can work, the model works, is by doing pay-per-view, really. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that, you know, they've effectively they're having to now do pay-per-view. But that's just, I guess that's just what it was always going to be. I think they basically got us hooked on to the fact that, oh yeah, it's going to be subscription, no pay-per-view's dead. But it was never going to work. Global subscription count for DAZN has grown rapidly since 2017, increasing sevenfold from the year 2019. However, the subscriber number dropped about 200,000 from 2019 to 2020. Wow, that's a big drop. That's a big drop. I don't know how DAZN, I don't know how well DAZN are doing. Is it buffering? Is it buffering, Davey? All right, okay, it's back again. So Joel had a good point in the group chat about how this increase in pay-per-view, etc., and monthly subscription will encourage more piracy streaming and returning fighters' loss of income. Yeah. I think there are already a lot of people doing that. If we think about it, there's already a lot of people you know, watching it illegally, which, yeah, it does affect the fighter, but unfortunately people can't afford it. So what do? If they want to watch something, they just be streaming it. And Bob Arum said that's the reason why the Spence and Crawford fight probably won't happen, because they can't do the big pay-per-view numbers. So yeah, guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone wants to jump on, you're more than welcome to jump on. There's the link. So Joel said it's about 7.6 million at the minute. Do you think they have 7.6 million subscribers? DAZN. That's a lot of subscribers. If they have got 7.6, that's a lot of subscribers right there. What's going on, Brendan? I hope you're good. Yeah, the live is happening. We are doing a live. Yeah, man. Anyone wants to jump on, smash the like button and jump on. You're more than welcome. But yeah, so Carlos says, if this is true, this will be Charlo's last fight. Wow. Yeah. Charlo and Andrade apparently, I mean, not Charlo and Benavidez apparently, it looks like that fight might be next. I think maybe Showtime have had enough of these Charlo v Selecki type fights, and they now want to make some money. You see, everyone's under a lot of pressure to deliver big fights. I think these guys might be forced into big fights because, as we were talking about earlier, the only way the broadcasters are now going to make money, and they might not even be able to make money with these big fights, because how big is a Charlo Benavidez fight? We don't know. But they may be forced to push these guys into big fights in order for them to make some revenue and money. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to generate the money they need in order to survive. And you may see a lot of broadcasters like Showtime go bust, because if they're not able, the problem is the fighters are getting paid too much, but a lot of shows aren't making a lot of profit. You know, the only way a business can last, a business can't last if it's continuing to make losses. And it looks like a lot of shows nowadays are making losses rather than profit. You know, so I don't know how sustainable that is over a period of time. So eventually, you know, something's going to have to give. Either they're going to have to start making the big fights, the fights that fans want to see, and the fights that the fans will be willing to pay for, or they're going to go bust. So I'm pretty sure they don't want to go bust. So I think the broadcasters might get in a position where they might start forcing these fighters to start taking the tough fights, in my opinion. They are pushing the fans. They are pushing the hardcore fans to stream because we watch almost every fight, so it's affordable. As fans, we want to see, and we will find a way. Yeah, I agree. Plus, remember, the cost of living now in the world, not just UK, but in the world, has gone up. People are struggling to pay their bills, let alone watch boxing. They're struggling to pay their bills. Joel says they've spent too much time tap dancing around with the poor fights that is killing the talent's opportunity to gain stock. Yeah, there's too many crap fights going about, too many nothing type of fights. Charlo was going to fight Selecki. I swear that was on pay-per-view as well. What a terrible fight that is. A fight that nobody wants to watch. Terrible. Fights like that are not good. Like, who wants to watch Charlo v Selecki? What a terrible fight. Brendan says they'll make money as long as they can make the darn fights people want to see. Yeah. But again, the other thing is, though, Brendan, they're only going to make money if they're paying these fighters. You see, Charlo and Benavidez, they want a certain amount of money for those type of fights because they know it's a big fight. Fighters are getting overpaid. So we may think even if they make the fights that they want to see, the fighters might demand a lot of money, which will mean that they need to do huge pay-per-view numbers. If they don't hit the big pay-per-view numbers, they're making a loss. Hence why I think the money that the fighters have been getting overpaid, really. Because I don't think and Dana White mentioned this. Dana White said that in boxing, fighters are getting overpaid. And listen, I'm all for fighters getting paid a lot of money because they're putting their lives on the line for our entertainment. The problem is we don't want the boxing business to go bust. And it needs to be sustainable. So we don't want guys that, like, if you're worth 10 million and you're bringing in that kind of revenue where you, like Canelo, he's bringing in a kind of revenue which probably deserves him to be paid what he's paid. But is Charlo, is Benavidez, are they bringing in the revenue that deserve for them to be paid what they're being paid? See, that's what we got to look at. Them blaming the streaming is such a blatant scapegoat energy. Yeah, true as well. True. Smash the like button, guys. Everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button. Boxing historian says, yeah, a 99 McD's burger is now 109. Now it's tough out here, bro. Yeah, not just that. That's one cost. There's loads of other stuff that's gone up like that. Brendan Jackson says, in reality, the promoters just care about how much money they make themselves. Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. Of course it is. They all want to make money. Bro, the interview Espinoza did with Hype, where Showtime offered a contract to Andrade to fight Charlo, but he didn't take it and decided to renew with DAZN. Wow. Is this true? Is that what he said? I didn't really hear what the full thing that he said, but Andrade is really, it's difficult, man. It's difficult to support that dude right now in the sense that he's just not getting the fights. He's not getting the big fights. He's not getting the attention. Andrade, his career his career is I don't know where it's going at this point. Andrade's in a difficult spot, man. Andrade's in a difficult spot. The man can't get a fight to save his life. Like, he just can't get a fight. I think the Charlo fight would have been an epic fight, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to ever be made. Unfortunately, it's sad because I really like to see them to get it on. Take UFC, for example. They get paid crap as it's one-man promotion company, and in boxing we have several, and the fighters are elite level, making tens of millions, hence why they all want an exhibition now. Yeah, but some fighters, as Eddie Hearn pointed out, they're getting overpaid. They're getting paid more than they're worth. They're not bringing in the revenue, right? They're not bringing in the revenue to just justify what they're getting paid. Andrade should just fight Janabek and get it over with. Yeah, he should fight Janabek. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Charlo fight either. I think the Janabek fight probably makes a lot of sense at this point. But yeah, I don't know if that fight's going to happen. I don't know whether Andrade's interested. I don't know. I'm not sure if that fight is going to happen, but yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the Janabek fight. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, guys, I'd appreciate it. If you can smash the like button, everyone in the stream. Fernando Cabo Sazon says facts, 100%. Yeah, he needs to fight Janabek now if he can't get any unification fights. I think the Janabek fight, or if he can get a Benavidez fight, you know, that I wouldn't mind. But I think he needs to. I think he needs to fight Janabek. I think all of the fans who tried to discredit Janabek for only having 12 fights was simply clear as they afraid for Andrade's safety. Yeah, I think there are Andrade fans that wouldn't want him to lose to Janabek. Otherwise, you know, his career is virtually over at that point. I think the whole sport needs to be overhauled. We need more unified approach, like most team sports. Yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to get that with boxing, though. That's the problem. I think the fighters have a lot of power. I think promoters obviously have a lot of power. I don't really feel like, I don't know if that'll ever happen with boxing. Andrade was acting strange in that video. He was almost like he was on drugs. Yeah, you should have seen Jermall Charlo's video when he was calling out all these guys. Jermall Charlo seemed even worse. Lol, that's the drink. Yeah. But Jermall Charlo seemed even worse. You need to see Jermall Charlo's video. He seemed even worse. He was off on one. He was even worse. So guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, anyone that wants to jump on, you're more than welcome. I'm quite surprised no one's jumped on. Normally people jump on quick. But yeah, smash the like button, everyone in the stream. Everyone that's here, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, I really hope that we can get Charlo, Andrade, Benavidez, one of these guys to fight one another. We need these fights. We need these fights. And look, Golovkin and Canelo are going to fight. Maybe Golovkin comes back down at middleweight. Maybe we can get a unification fight there. Okay. So I'll be on in a sec, Brendan says. Brendan wants to talk about Janabek and Andrade. That's a good fight. It's a good fight. Charlo, Benavidez. I want to see all these guys crack it on, to be honest. I want to see all of these guys get a fight on, to be honest. Well, I think Espinoza now making those comments. I don't know if Andrade's still with DAZN. I don't know what's going off there. GK Black, my man GK Black's in the building. Andrade was getting at least $1 million for the Williams, Quigley, Keeler defenses because of Hearn. Fighting Janabek, he will get only get maybe 300K because of the minimum purse bid. Wow. That's peanuts, really, when we think about it. That's not a lot of money, is it? That's less. But that's, unfortunately, Andrade, he's got himself, you know, he went up to 168, was going to fight Zach Parker. And I think he would have got paid good money fighting Zach Parker. You know, when he decided he pulled out through injury, and now he's in a position where it's Janabek or he vacates his belt, you know, and he's got himself to blame, really. I think he's got no choice but to fight Janabek. I think his credibility will be hit if he doesn't fight Janabek now. So, yeah, guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. Smash the like button, guys. So, yeah, I think Benavidez is going to brutalize Charlo. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure about that. Like, I like to see that fight. Maybe, possibly. You know, again, I'm not so sure with Benavidez. We have less weight, and time will tell. But, you know, so far, Benavidez has fought nobody as well. So we have to wait till he jumps in there with somebody that can actually fight. You know, a lot of the guys that he's fought either washed up or they're no good, you know. So yeah, we need to see Benavidez in there with a test. He's been in there with a lot of guys that doesn't excite me at all. But yeah, guys, smash the like button. But so Fernando says, but that's a good fight though. Janabek v Andrade on ESPN probably does 1 million views. I thought you were going to say 1 million pay-per-view buys. I was about to spit my water out. It's like 1 million pay-per-view buys. No, it's 1 million views. Possibly, yeah. Possibly. You know, ESPN has a huge platform. So they do some big numbers, you know. ESPN do some massive numbers. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it does that, without question. But to be honest, I just want to see Andrade in a tough fight at this point. I want to see him in a 50-50 fight. I want to see him in a fight where we can see how good he is, you know, because over the last decade, we haven't really seen the man tested. Laugh my ass off. Chill. Yeah. Juan Montiel is basically a very poor man's David Benavidez. Is how they fight. Benavidez is a monster. Too much speed, in my opinion. Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a big guy, but he's a bit flat-footed as well. What's up, the brotherhood? I hope you're good. I hope you're good, brother. I hope you're good. I don't know with Benavidez. Like, you know, a lot of people are high on Davey Benavidez, but I don't know about him, Brendan. You know, a lot of people are high on Benavidez, but I'm not convinced. Andrade calling out Eubank. Andrade calling out Eubank is a sign he's given up and trying to cash out. Yeah, that was a bit desperate, and he looked drunk in the video as well. He sounded a bit drunk to me. What's going on? The fight game, a long time. I hope you're good, brother. I hope you're good. Long time no speak. Fight gamers in the house. Brendan says, I don't think Charlo's jab will be able to reach Benavidez. I'm not so sure about that. I don't think he's that big. Charlo's a big dude as well. He's 6'1". Charlo's 6'4" or 6'1". He's a big guy. You know, so there's not that much difference in height, you know. Charlo ain't a midget like Lemieux. Charlo's actually quite a big guy himself. Yeah, I know Benavidez is like 6'3", but, you know, Charlo's a big dude. I think if Benavidez fights Plant, we're going to know it for real. Yeah, Plant's a good fighter, man. Plant showed me against Canelo he can really fight. He's tricky, he's awkward. I think he could be a problem. What do you think of Danny Garcia v Jose Benavidez? An interesting fight. That's a good fight, you know, because, you know, Garcia, he's a little flat-footed at times, and, you know, Benavidez is a good boxer. He performed well against Crawford. I just don't know how his leg is. I think Garcia should win, but I don't know. Like, Garcia, I've never been that impressed with Garcia, really. He's had a very good career. But I don't know. I'm not that convinced. Apart from beating Khan and Matisse, I haven't been that convinced. I felt like he lost to Peterson, he lost to Herrera. I'm just not convinced by Danny Garcia. I'm not so sure about him. You know, some people are very high on Danny Garcia. I'm just not so sure. And at 154, I think it might be a step too far. But, you know, maybe if a title becomes vacant, who knows? Brendan says, Charlo couldn't really set up his punches with the jab. V Montiel, I remember Charlo throwing power shots practically every time he threw a punch. He'd go out via death by 1,000 cuts with David. Yeah, most likely. You know, he's got to be smart. You're fighting a bigger man. You're fighting a stronger, bigger man, you know. Anyone that wants to jump on in the live stream, you're more than welcome. Guys, smash the like button while you're here as well. It helps the stream. So if you can smash the like button, I really appreciate it. Danny will KO Jose, in my opinion, says Brendan. Yeah, probably, you know, but you know, Benavidez is no joke. Recently, Danny Garcia has been saying he suffered anxiety. That's why he lost to Spence, and basically making excuses, in my opinion, and wants a rematch. Suffered with anxiety. A very, very experienced champion like Danny Garcia suffering with anxiety. Unbelievable if that's true. You know, it doesn't really come across that type of fighter that would suffer with anxiety. For real, I got Garcia too. I think everyone's got a Garcia. You know, he's the more accomplished fighter out of the two. You know, Benavidez has got a bit of a dodgy leg, you know, and let's be honest, Benavidez hasn't really fought anybody apart from Crawford, where he got knocked out. So, yeah, I think he should win. Jess 05, what's going on? What's going on? Is this fight really going to happen? What, Benavidez v Charlo? Yeah, it looks like it might be forced. I got Danny Garcia by stoppage. Yeah, most likely. But Benavidez, I think it might be a good fight. It might be a good fight. Let's see. You know, it might be a much better fight than what we think. You know, Garcia, he's at the end of his career now. What about Danny Garcia v Jermall Charlo? How do you see that one going? Okay, PBC. PBC can make some real good fights at 168 between Charlo, Benavidez, and Plant, but they are all got that PBC premium protective service. Yeah. They don't want to make the big fights. They don't want to give us good fights. They want to give us some Charlo v Selecki type fights. Terrible fights. Terrible fights. You know, I'm kind of bored with those crappy fights we get. You know, Selecki v Charlo, that's a crap fight. You know, that's what they were feeding to us, you know. Charlo v Selecki, please. What's going on, Ryan Lamb? I hope you're good, brother. I hope everything's good. Fernando says also Morel. Morel's a good fight. That'll be a good fight. Morel v Benavidez. I like that. Jess says about time. Yeah, it's about time we start getting some big fights. Fight Gamer says I like to see David Benavidez and Andrade. I like to see that fight as well. I think that's a good fight. I think that's a very good fight. I think that's a tricky fight for Demetrius Andrade. It is. Let's see how good Demetrius Andrade would do with someone like David Benavidez. A lot of people are very high on Benavidez. A lot of people think Benavidez is, I mean, he's the next, he's a monster. So let's see. They call him the Mexican monster, right? Let's see how well he does. Imran, gonna join the live just now. What's going on, brother? I hope you're good. I hope you're good, Claude. Claude's in the house, man. It's always a pleasure to speak to Claude. Brendan says Benavidez would destroy Andrade after he finds him in the mid rounds. Possibly. There is a chance of that. You know, Benavidez is a big guy, but again, I also think Andrade could outbox Benavidez. Andrade is a better boxer than Benavidez. He's got better footwork than Benavidez. He's also he's fast. You know, as well. He's also fast of hands as well, Andrade. So that isn't that easy a fight, you know. If Benavidez doesn't KO Andrade, he loses for me on points. You know, I do think Andrade's a very dangerous fight for Benavidez because Benavidez looks like he's stuck in quicksand. You know what I mean? He moves very slowly. And Andrade might be just too sharp, too quick. You know, that's why that's an interesting fight. Charlo has a different style. Charlo probably has a style that suits Benavidez, hence why Benavidez wants that fight more than the Andrade fight, in my opinion. Why do you think Benavidez is calling out Andrade? I mean, why do you think Benavidez is calling out Charlo more than he's calling out Andrade? I think he knows that style is a bit of an issue. I think Benavidez's defense is underrated. In what sense do you think it's underrated, Brendan? I think he's got really slow feet, though. It's his feet that are really slow. That's a problem, in my opinion. Okay, so Jesso5 says, how's Christian? Does he have any excuses for Andrade? Well, Christian wants him to fight Janabek now. Christian says there isn't a better fight. I want him to fight Janabek. And if he beats Janabek, that makes Andrade the best middleweight out there because Janabek's the most dangerous guy. So let's see. Christian actually wants him to fight Janabek. AB Andrade wasted his career, needs to get on with it, high-level fights. Yeah, he is a bit of wasted, isn't it? It's definitely wasted. He could have achieved so much more, and he didn't really hit his, in my opinion, he hasn't really, like, what is Andrade? Who's Andrade beat? Nobody, really, when you think about such a long career. But he hasn't really beaten the top guys, unfortunately. Okay. For real, Andrade does have good boxing skills. Yeah, he does have good boxing skills, without question. Just unfortunately can't get big fights. Charlo will look like Sweet Pea compared to Benavidez. That's a bit of a stretch. You know, I wouldn't want to compare Charlo to Sweet Pea. That's wrong. That's wrong. You know, Sweet Pea was one of the kind. DAZN can't compete with Sky. Older people don't watch sports on computers or apps. Very true. Very true, Claude. But Sky is in the UK. Are you from the UK, Claude? If you don't mind me asking, because Sky is a UK broadcaster. You know, I'm pretty sure there's no Sky in America. So if you live in America, it wouldn't, you know, Sky wouldn't be relevant to you anyway. But Andrade could have fought Jermall, Sergey, Lara, but they never happened. Again, it's all hearsay. Whose fault was it? Why didn't those fights happen? You know, I speak to Christian quite regular, and he says they didn't happen for this reason, that reason, this reason. But the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, they never happened. As a fan, they never happened. So if a fight doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And Andrade's still searching for a fight, you know. And it's the thing is with Andrade, you see, Andrade hasn't even got any decent opponents. Like Charlo's still got decent opponents. Like he fought Derevyanchenko. He's fought some decent, like some names, you know. But when it comes to Andrade, he's literally got nothing on his resume, you know, and that's not good, you know, when a guy's been around for that long. He's almost 35. He's a 2-division world champion. To have such a poor resume like that, it's not good. You know, it's bad for the sport. It's bad for his career, of course, which it obviously is going to be bad for his career. But most importantly, it's sad. It's bad for the fans because we don't get to find out how good he is. Benavidez actually has decent head movement, ability to block and parry punches. He's subtle, footwork too. He isn't moving all around the ring. He still often takes half steps back, forward, left and right. But again, who has he done that against? He's very poor opposition, man. Very poor. You know, he's done that against puddings, really. Let's be brutally honest. So has from Toronto, Canada. Do they have Sky in Canada? I'm not sure they do. Okay, Brendan says Charlo looked like Sweet Pea. Benavidez low. Okay, Andrade has Varnes and Liam Williams on his resume. Yeah, but that's well, you know, the Varnes. Yeah, Liam Williams never been a world champion. Liam Williams is not like Liam Williams just got beat by Eubank. You know, so come on, we can't really throw that out there as a credible name. You know, Varnes, yeah, okay, fair enough, but Williams, no, not so much. Yeah, it's just not good enough for me. Like, it's just not good enough. I think, yeah, it's just not good enough. I'm pretty sure Jermall Charlo's beaten Austin Trout. He's beaten Derevyanchenko, and he's probably got a couple of other names on there as well, Charlo, you know? But the point is with Andrade, it's so thin. It's such a thin resume. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't know why he's been sidelined like that. Why he can't get a big fight. It's just not. I don't know why. Why? Can anyone explain why? Why has he been blacklisted like that and put to one side? I don't quite understand it. It's like people have kind of made an agreement. Don't give this guy a big fight. Well, to be honest, there was a fight that was pretty big with him and Billy Joe that was signed, and he was going to fight Billy Joe. And that fight was going to be, that was a pretty big fight, you know, and that would have been a big thing for Andrade at that point. But unfortunately, Billy, you know, popped dirty and that fight didn't happen. You know, I just think Andrade's whole career has been a curse where he just can't seem to get a break, you know. Andrade stepped on too many toes. He stepped on too many toes. What do you mean by that? You think he pissed a lot of people off? He pissed a lot of people off. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. Everyone in the stream, if you can smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it. Give that like button a press, a smash. It'll really help the algorithm if you can give that like button a smash. Quite surprised no one's come on today. Jess says, what are your thoughts? Thurman moving up to number 1 in the WBC. My thoughts are about Thurman moving up to number 1. I want to see Thurman get a big fight. You know, Thurman, who's he beat? He beat Mario Barrios. He's been very inactive. Thurman's kind of gone missing. I don't know with Thurman. I think Thurman might be done now. I don't know whether Thurman, maybe feed Thurman to Ennis. Maybe feed Thurman to Ennis and, you know, and let Ennis, you know, in my opinion, get the experience of fighting somebody that was fighting a name or fighting a big name. I'd like to see Ennis and Thurman. That'd be a good fight. Gary fights tomorrow. Gary Antoine Russell, is it? Gary Antoine Russell. He's a very, very good talent. I heard a lot of big things about Gary Antoine Russell. He's been a bit quiet though. You know, Ennis seems to be getting a lot more notice. He seems to be getting a lot more notice than someone like Gary Antoine Russell, who a lot of people rate very highly. Exactly. Andrade is a shady businessman. He's a shady businessman. Yeah. I don't know. Andrade isn't really a businessman. He's more of a fighter, but his team is supposed to be doing that for him. But it doesn't seem like his team has done a very good job. Janabek was on social media calling out Andrade for literally years while people were spreading the everyone ducking Andrade narratives. Killed all the smoke and mirrors for me when I found that out. Yeah, he was calling out Andrade. Yeah. I don't think it's been for years, but I think it's been a while now. It's probably been about 1.5 years. I got Garcia. I got Garcia winning that fight. I think Garcia will beat Benavidez. Bro, for real, Jess, Thurman won on WBC. I think Spence v Terrence ain't gonna happen, and it's going to be Spence v Thurman. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, which won't be good. He is 15-0, 15 KOs. Gary Antoine Russell. Yeah, Gary Antoine Russell's a good fighter. It's just that again, he's kind of gone under the radar. I don't know. He's not been promoted that well as well. You know, I think Ennis is getting a lot more. You know, he's getting a lot more clout than someone like Gary Antoine at this point. But yeah, I think Gary Antoine eventually. You know, they say the cream always rises to the top, and hopefully that's the case with Gary Antoine Russell. I want to say since 2018. About 2018, Imran, I saw a poster article that I'm about to have to go back and reference. What's this for? You watching the fights tomorrow? Yes. YouTube B. Yeah, I'm watching the fights tomorrow. Which fights? The ones in the UK or the ones in America? Yeah, I'll be watching the fights tomorrow. Danny Garcia v Benavidez. I'll be watching that. I expect Garcia. I expect Garcia to win that one. I think Benavidez, he's fighting on one leg, you know. USA, yeah, of course I'll be watching that. GK Black. Andrade was calling out Munguia, GG Canelo, BJS for years. He has been calling him out, but unfortunately none of those fights have happened. Or the BJS fight was going to happen, but as I pointed out, why it didn't happen. BJS he you know, tested positive or was dirty, and hence why the fight didn't happen. But yeah, it was going to happen. You're right. It was going to happen. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. All of you in the stream, if you can smash that like button, it'd be great. But yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing for Andrade, his career, that, you know, he's not managed to get the marquee names, the marquee fights. It's sad for him. You know, I expected him to get a lot more. By now, I would expect a guy that's been around for as long as Andrade to be getting a lot more fights than he has. But unfortunately, things haven't worked out for him. They haven't worked out for him, and unfortunately, he hasn't got the big fights, which is kind of sad, to say the least. But you know, that's just how boxing is. Boxing is tough. It's a tough all game, boxing. Is Floyd the best welterweight of all time? You got him in the top 5 of all time. Yeah, I think Floyd, not the best of all time because there's Sugar Ray Leonard in that as well, but he's one of the best. He's one of the best, like, fighters, not just like, he's one of the best fighters of all time, really, if you think about it. You know, you could probably put Floyd top 10, top 15. Janabek has expressed interest in fighting Andrade for years now. Yeah, he has. But I don't know if it was since 2017, unless, you know, time does fly, you know. So 2017, that you're talking about 5 years ago. I don't think it's been that long. You know, Janabek wasn't even known 5 years ago. Was he even pro 5 years ago? You know, he's only had 12 fights. So it couldn't have been 5 years. It couldn't have been 5 years ago. Surely not. 2019. Yeah, that's 3 years ago. But at that point, you know, he would have been a bit of a novice. Now it's a much more credible fight. I have Sugar Ray. Joel says I have Sugar Ray Robinson and Leonard ahead of Floyd. Floyd is up there though. Yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson was one of the greatest fighters of all time. Most people have him as the best pound for pound fighter of all time. Sugar Ray Leonard is also one of the greatest fighters of all time, and most people consider him one of the greatest welters of all time. And same with Floyd. You know, you're talking about three of the best ever in the sports history. I posted an article with the date in the moments. You just haven't seen it yet. Where have you posted it? I haven't seen it. No, I probably haven't seen it. Um, Janabek only has 12 fights. Literally a prospect that just got here. Yeah, he is a prospect that's just got here. Unbeaten. Janabek calls out. All right, okay, I seen it now. I seen it now. Unbeaten Janabek Alakamani calls out WBO champion Demetrius Andrade. Andrade been a WBO champion at middleweight since 2019. Bloody hell. It's been a long time that he's held that belt for. Bloody hell. You know, his career's been so long, but he's literally fought nobody, man. For a guy to have a career for that long and he's not fought anybody, he needs to get some big fights. He needs to get some big fights, get some paydays, and then get out. Andrade already, like, I've always worried for Andrade because I feel like he slurs his speech. Like, I've seen him. I don't know if he was like that right at the start of his career, but I've seen some of his interviews, and he kind of speaks very slowly at times. You know, like almost he's slurring in his speech. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it with Andrade. He definitely slurs his speech a little bit. He has a bit of a stutter as well. I don't know whether that's to do with boxing or whether he's just naturally like that. I don't know. I can't remember his interviews early on in his career, right when he was young. But yeah, he definitely has a little bit of a stutter about him. You know, I don't know whether that's to do with boxing. So yeah, Andre's got a couple years left. I think he needs to make his money and get out. Bro, that's a good fight. Janabek v Andrade, 100%. Since Eubank gonna fight Ben, that Ben guy. Yeah, yeah, Eubank's gonna fight Ben. It looks like, in my opinion. I think that fight's virtually. They're saying it's virtually done. There's a few little stumbling blocks, and then I think that will happen. So I think Eubank Ben probably will be next. Janabek already has one KO of the year, highlight reel KO of the year candidate in this year. This guy deserves any hype he gets. To hell with just having 12 fights. Floyd v GGG at 154. Who wins? Well, Floyd, because GGG would have to probably cut off his leg to make 154. So yeah, I'd have to go with Floyd. But at 160, Golovkin would destroy Floyd. Jaron Ennis can beat any welterweight right now. Crawford, Spence, Danny, and Virgil Ortiz. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd definitely go with that. I'd agree with that. I think Ennis beats every welterweight right now. He's too big. He's too versatile. He's too strong. He punches hard from both hands. That guy is a beast. He's a beast. Ennis is a monster. He's an absolute monster. For me, the best welterweight, in my opinion. Ennis is just something else. Ennis has the capability of being one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Literally, I think the guy's special. You know, Spence right now is in a position where he could say that if he beats Crawford, or if Crawford beats Spence. But I definitely do think that, you know, Ennis is something special. I think Ennis is gonna go through the weights as well, because Ennis looks like a really big welter as well. So he's definitely gonna climb through the weights, and we're probably gonna see that guy, you know, definitely move up and down the weight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Boots on and Virgil, both monsters. Yeah, Virgil. I think Virgil's a very good fighter as well. I just rate Boots a lot higher. I think Boots is just a lot more versatile. Virgil is more seek and destroy. Like, I've seen fighters like Virgil before, although he's a very good fighter. With Ennis, haven't really seen that kind of talent before. A guy that can switch, a guy that has power in both hands, a guy that is that versatile, that sharp, very good on his feet. He just looks like a complete fighter to me. So I think Ennis might be the Ennis is just something incredible. I ain't really seen. He's probably one of the best talents I've seen, like ever. I will wait for Ennis to beat a name first before putting him before Spence and Crawford. Yeah, I understand you saying that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty fair to say that because it is giving someone a lot of praise by saying he beat Spence and Crawford without him having actually done it. And also it goes against my motto. I think that the fact that Ennis is so special, I think I'm able to say that because Ennis is such a special fighter. I'm kind of putting him on that level. Yup, agree. Joel says Ennis is definitely special and needs to be matched with a good name before we can see where he's going. I think a good name would be Keith Thurman. I think that would be a perfect match at this stage. Thurman's kind of a fading, great fighter of the past, and Ennis is an up and coming star. So I think that would probably be the perfect fight. Whether Thurman would won that fight, I'm not sure. But that probably fight makes a lot of sense. Possibly, I think that could be a fight which they could definitely explore. I think that would be something that maybe if PBC can put on, I think that would be a great fight. The passing of the torch, so to speak. Guys, smash the like button. Everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. Also, anyone that wants to jump on, more than welcome to jump on. I don't know why you all want to see Thurman end bouts. Wow, Thurman. I don't see Thurman ending bouts by any. I think if anyone's gonna do the ending, it's gonna be Ennis ending Thurman. AB, high risk, low reward. High risk, low reward with Ennis. Fight doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But again, that's what I mean. That's why nobody wants to fight Jaron Ennis, because he's a problem. And people know that. Ennis will beat Crawford. As a matter of fact, Crawford would be scared to fight Ennis. Kelly Brown. I don't know whether he'd be scared, but I do think Ennis would have a good chance of beating Crawford. Yeah. I would pick him as well. I think he's big, strong. He's very he fights in both stances. Ennis would be a problem. I think Ennis beats Thurman, but Thurman wants a title fight, so it won't happen. Yeah, I agree. Thurman will look at Ennis and think, why do I need to fight this kid? What does this kid bring for me? Nothing. And he's right. Thurman wants a title fight. Thurman wants a Crawford or Spence fight. And they are saying that a Thurman Spence fight might happen. A Thurman Spence fight might actually happen. So yeah. I think a lot of people want to see Thurman fight Ennis. But I wouldn't mind seeing Thurman get an opportunity against Spence. I don't think Thurman beats any of the top guys right now, unfortunately. What does this mean? W. What are you saying there? I think I'd have to agree with Joel that Ennis would probably knock out Thurman at this point. Thurman didn't look that great against Barrios. He looks like he's on the other side of his career, which is sad. I actually think Thurman is actually an underachieving welterweight. I think Thurman could have done so much more, and I think Thurman had so much more promise. But again, I think injury was probably the downfall of his career. I think he got injured and he never kind of managed to wrestle the momentum back in his favor, unfortunately. And I think his career went downhill after that. It's sad because I think Thurman was some talent. He was a great talent. And I actually thought Thurman would achieve a lot more than what he's actually done. He was only a champion for a very short period of time. He wasn't champion for long. And yeah, I just feel like he should have done so much more, which was pretty disappointing because I rated Thurman very, very highly. To be honest, I thought Thurman was a great fighter. Really did think Thurman was a great fighter. But unfortunately, just he didn't get the big fights. Well, Crawford has always been scared of good fighters and tough fights. Crawford will eventually. Crawford wants Spence. He wants to fight Spence. Wants that fight. So hopefully that fight can happen. Lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight are the deepest divisions. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Middleweight, yeah, none of those guys fight each other, unfortunately. Lightweights, hopefully those guys can fight each other. There's some really good lightweights out there. Welterweight's also a very good division. And super middleweight. Yeah, super middleweight. Okay. Canelo, there's Plant, there's Morel, there's Benavidez. Who else is there? Bro, if Spence fights Thurman, I think Terrence should give Virgil a chance on his belt. Maybe a Virgil or Ennis. Virgil or Ennis, I would like to see either of those fights. Because who is there practically for him to fight? No, he doesn't want Spence. He's afraid of Spence. No, surely you don't believe that. Crawford wants Spence. Crawford wants that fight. Why would Crawford not want the Spence fight? I don't see why Crawford won't want the Spence fight. I think the lightweight is currently more open and competitive than any other lightweight is currently more open and competitive than any other division at the moment, with the current talent and up there and up current talent too. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think the lightweight division is probably the most exciting division. A lot of those guys are pretty big stars as well. They have a big mouth. They're young. They're fresh. Unfortunately, we need those guys to step in the ring with one another because although it's a great division, none of those guys are fighting one another. So we need them guys to really fight one another to really see, who the best is out of the lot. So there's a lot of laughing here. So AB says Spence soft for holding a grudge on Thurman like a girl. Yeah, well, Spence does have a grudge against Thurman. Kelly Brown says because he has no balls and guts. Crawford has no balls and guts, says Kelly Brown. Says Fernando, and the Brotherhood said Crawford saw Ugas get his face broken and demanded more money from Spence. I don't know about this more money, I think they just want to all get paid fairly. I don't think they're scared, man. I don't think fighters are scared like that. Why would Crawford wants the big money, he wants the big fights, he wants to be involved in big fights. That's just like any fighter. Every fighter wants to be involved in big fights. Every fighter wants to get paid well. They want big fights. They want, that's every fighter. But the lightweights are good fighters, but they're not fighting. Yeah, they're not fighting each other. That's the problem. They are very good fighters. But as Joel mentioned, that's very deep, deep talent. Also, they're also very big stars, massive. They're very popular. I think if those guys start fighting each other, I think it'll be good for the sport. I really do. I think boxing will be good as a result of it if those two do fight each other. Because if those guys fight each other, because those guys are not just great fighters, but they're also big stars as well. So I think the events would get a lot of attention, and I think a lot of casuals would watch those fights as well. I think those are the type of fights that could cross over. Whereas I'm not sure Spence and Crawford has that appeal, although it's a big fight. I don't know how many casuals will be interested in a Spence Crawford fight. When Mayweather fought Pacquiao, that fight was so big, not just in America, but here in the UK. Literally, I know girls that have no interest there's some girls that I know have no interest in boxing. They were staying up to watch that fight. Bro, do you think Terrence should get a 50-50 from Purse, or is it 60-40 since Spence has more leverage? To be honest, I don't really like, I would say probably 55-45 or 60-40, whatever. Just get the fight done. Just get the fight done. Just get the fight made. The fans have wanted this fight for years. Just get it done. Just get it done so we can get a fight. All this 50-50 and 60-40, all this nonsense. Just get the fight done so we can get a good fight. That's all I'm gonna say. They need to get the fight done for the fans. The fans have been wanting this fight for a very long time. Get the fight done. Kelly Brown says Crawford says the one thing and does something else. I've been following Crawford since Cole Bradius Prescott. He's fought some good fighters, though. You can't deny he has fought some decent names. Yeah, they've some of those names were past their prime, past their best. I get that, but again, he wants to fight Spence. I think he wants to fight Spence. More can I say? Like, he wants that fight with Spence. I think he just finds it difficult that he wants 50-50 with Spence. A lot of you don't think he's worth 50-50 because Spence has more leverage. But at the end of the day, he's achieved more than Spence in terms of he's a 3-division world champion. He's a former undisputed champion at light welterweight. So again, he feels like he's earned the right to have a 50-50. Jess says, think because of a rematch clause is holding it back. A rematch clause. Well, why wouldn't they want to rematch the clause though? Crawford fought good CB level guys, yeah. Some of them were past their best as well. Yeah. But again, I don't know who Spence has fought. Spence fought a Mikey Garcia, a blown up lightweight. Then he fought Porter in a close fight. He fought Kell Brook. Kell Brook had been busted by Golovkin in the fight before. Danny Garcia, okay, yeah. But again, it's not like, do you know what I mean? Crawford would beat everyone that Spence beat, It is what it is. In all fairness, though, Spence is the same. He hasn't fought that many great fighters. Yeah, he hasn't. Spence hasn't fought that many great fighters when you think about it. Why are we making out like Spence has fought killers? Yeah, he fought Ugas. Okay, Ugas, who did he really beat? Like, Ugas beat Manny Pacquiao, was a 50-year-old man. At the time he beat him, like, you know what I mean? And then he beat he beat Danny Garcia, another fighter that was kind of on the decline, inactive. So again, like, we're acting like Spence has beaten like some killers in their prime. He hasn't beaten that much. Achieved more than Spence. How come fans aren't impressed with Bud? Because they want to see him fight. And but as Joel just pointed out above, that Spence's resume is not that great either. When you think about it, it's not like so in your opinion, then, who hasn't Terence Crawford faced at welterweight? Spence hasn't fought Thurman. Spence hasn't fought what's his name? Crawford. So are you saying that Danny Garcia and Ugas would beat Terence Crawford? Because effectively, that's who Spence has faced that Crawford hasn't really at welterweight. Who else has he faced at welterweight? Because Crawford just beat Porter. He just beat Porter. So effectively, you're saying him beating Ugas, right? And Danny Garcia is, yes, you are right. That's why Thurman's still the man. I wouldn't go far as saying Thurman's still the man, because Thurman's kind of past his best. Bud achievements are greater though. He's won in 3 different divisions. Yeah, he has. And he's a former undisputed 140-pound champion. Spence fought Porter, Ugas, Danny Garcia, and Brook. Decent resume at that respective division. With that being said, Crawford is still kicking his ass. Yeah. So he's fought Porter, Ugas, Danny Garcia, and Brook. Yeah. Yeah, I'd give you that. I'd give you that. Yeah, he has fought slightly better competition at welterweight. Yeah. Spence beat Brook, Porter, and Ugas. They're legit, bro. Yeah, he beat Brook well. He stopped Spence. He stopped Brook and Ugas. The Porter fight was razor thin, though. Let's be real. The Porter fight was razor thin with Spence, and Crawford just knocked out Porter. He's achieved more as in division belts held. Yeah, he has definitely. He has. Joel's right there. He has. Ugas and Danny might beat him. What, you think Ugas and Danny might beat Terence Crawford? I don't know. I don't think so. Crawford is definitely beating the hell out of Ugas. Yeah, he's definitely beating him. And he beat Danny Garcia as well. Spence came off a car accident and fought Danny Garcia, and you're saying he's nothing. I'm not saying it's nothing. Danny Garcia is a really good fighter, but what I'm saying is that you're saying that you're basically saying that his resume is leaps and frogs ahead of better than Terence Crawford. What I'm saying is, who has he fought that Terence Crawford would struggle to beat, or people wouldn't think that Terence Crawford would beat at welterweight? Really, he's like, the only two names are Danny Garcia and Ugas. Everybody else that Spence, what was Crawford fought broke. Crawford fought Porter. You know, who else? Like, he hasn't fought Ugas, he hasn't fought Danny Garcia, you know, but really, Spence hasn't fought Thurman. Spence beat, I mean, Thurman beat Porter and Danny Garcia. Spence ain't fought him. And Spence hasn't fought Crawford, who people think is his biggest rival. So the point I'm trying to make is also, oh, come on. Brotherhood, don't do that. Peterson was severely washed up. He was way past his best when he fought Spence. And Mikey Garcia was a lightweight. You know, he was come on, he was coming from jumping up 2 weight classes. Porter is overrated, in my opinion. I'd have to agree. I think Porter, I don't rate him that highly, to be honest. I think he was a good fighter, but he's just a bit wild. And he didn't have much power as well. He didn't have a lot of power. Danny was Spence's first fight back from the accident. Yeah, he was. But again, apparently Danny suffered from anxiety in that fight. According to his father, he suffered from an anxiety attack. That's what his father said. Paul fought literally everybody. He gets major respect. Yeah, he did fight everybody, but like, yeah, I'm not convinced by that guy. Let's go through Porter's resume. He got a draw against Julio Diaz early on in his career, which was a fight that he lost, in my opinion. Then he beat him in the rematch, fair play. Then he lost to Kell Brook. Then he lost to Keith Thurman, right? In between, he beat guys like Malignaggi, beat Devin Alexander in a close fight. He beat Berto, washed up Berto, but fair enough. And then he fought Danny Garcia in a fight that he won, which I thought he lost. I thought he lost to Ugas as well, which again, he got that decision, which I don't think he deserved. And then he lost to Terence Crawford and stuff. But I actually think like Porter lost a lot of fights and he got given some fights, like the Garcia fight. I don't think he won that. I definitely don't think he won the Ugas fight. So yeah, Porter's a little bit, he gets major respect. He fought everybody, but I don't really think he had great skills personally. I don't rate him that highly, to be honest. For real, Spence a monster. How you fight after an accident like that, bro? Yeah, he is a monster. No, I'm not saying Spence isn't a good fighter. I'm just saying the fact that people think that his resume and his achievements are far more than Crawford. Kelly Brown. Spence made Porter look good by going down to the trenches where Porter likes it best and beat him at his own game in his yard. Yeah, but if he didn't get that knockdown, he probably loses the fight. That's how close it was. Canelo has a very low chance of beating Mayweather's most champions between 22 records. Yeah, Canelo's Canelo. Canelo will, in my opinion, Canelo will do great things. I think a lot of people write Canelo off after, losing to, after he lost to, Bivol. But I think Canelo will be back. Porter beat Usyk as an amateur, and Porter and Ugas beat Crawford as an amateur too. Yeah, but I don't think we can take amateur fights and define greatness that way. Ugas did beat Crawford as amateur, but Amir Khan destroyed Ugas as an amateur. They both fought, and Amir Khan actually stopped Ugas when they fought as amateurs. So yeah, and Crawford beat Amir Khan as a pro, and it was a washed up Khan, but still. But that's the point I'm trying to make. Amateurs is amateurs, Crawford Spence only looks good on paper, but come on, fight night, it's a blowout for Spence, and Bud knows that. We'll have to wait and see about that. We'll have to wait and see about that. You know, Kelly Brown seems like a very big Spence fan. Porter overrated. That's crazy. Porter still gave almost in every fight he fought. Yeah, he's a good fighter. He gave it his all. You know what I mean? He definitely was a trier. You know what I mean? But like, if I compare Porter to Maidana, I think Maidana was a better fighter. Maidana had relentless pressure. He was strong. He could punch. You know, I don't think Porter had power. I think Maidana was, for me, a far better fighter. But Maidana don't even get that much credit, really. Like Maidana, imagine if like Spence went to war with Maidana. Maidana would have lit him up. Like, if you can't like, Maidana has so much power. There's no way Spence could go in the trenches with Maidana like that and take flush shots of Maidana. Maidana had a hammer of a right hand. You don't want to be getting caught with you know, from Maidana. You know, Porter doesn't even have that much power. For real, Porter gave everyone hell. He did give everyone hell, but he lost as well. A lot of those fights that he gave hell in. The judges didn't like his work. Who you got more power, Spence or Crawford? I think Spence is a bigger man. He's got more power. Crawford has always been afraid of Pacquiao, Ugas, now Spence. Afraid I don't think fighters are afraid, bro. What's the update? What's the update? The finalized deal between Errol Spence v. Crawford for the undisputed 147-pound title, 5th or 12th. They better work it out. Announcement. If they don't, fight looks like they're going to be an option for Bud Crawford. He might possibly move up to 154. Yeah, possibly. I think Crawford may fight Jermall Charlo eventually. So what's going on, Gorg? What's going on? Pacquiao got a 6-round exhibition. Yeah, he has. I heard about that. Fair play. Good luck to Pacquiao on that, for that. The Spence and Crawford fight is going to be a good fight. Spence will struggle with his style. Yeah, Spence might get outboxed. You know, Crawford is very, very good. So we'll have to wait and see. Porter gets credit for fighting everybody, but lost most big fights. Yes. I'm not a big Spence fan. I call a spade, and Crawford is highly overrated. We'll have to wait and see when he fights. I disagree. Bud got more KO than Spence. Bud got more KOs than Spence. I don't know. I don't know if he's got more power, not at welterweight. Who has he really KO'd at welterweight? He KO'd Kell Brook. He KO'd Amir Khan. He KO'd Jeff Horn. He KO'd Benavidez. We'll have to wait and see. You know, I think Spence has obviously fought better competition at welterweight, so it's hard to judge. You know, how can Crawford move up to 154 when he's afraid to fight top 147s? Kelly, you keep saying he's afraid. I don't think he's afraid. Crawford has gotten belts in 3 divisions and unified one of them. How is that overrated? Yeah, I don't get it myself. I don't see Porter. People don't like Porter. I mean, people don't like Crawford. Porter. Guys, no one's come on today. I'm quite surprised. Guys, while you're here, smash the like button as well. While you're here, smash the like button. He's afraid of Spence. Who's afraid of Spence? Crawford has literally called out Jermall staying in your weight class. Charlo, he ain't scared of no 154-pound punches. Yeah, he isn't. Janabek wants all the smoke. Joza, what's going on? What is going on? Janabek wants all the smoke. He wants all the smoke. Janabek wants all the smoke. He wants all that smoke. And he's looking to smoke Andrade as well. Nah, Jermall. So he says, nah, Jermall gonna beat up Terrence. Jermall is a beast. He's, you know, Jermall is a beast. Without question, Jermall is definitely a beast. I like Jermall Charlo. I think he's a really, really good fighter. I do. I think he's a top fighter, Jermall. I think he's I think he's the best 154 pounder. I think eventually he's going to move up to middleweight as well. I like what Jermall has done. I think Jermall is very underrated. I don't think he gets appreciated. I think he's cleaned out the 154-pound division. I think he's a top fighter. I think I really rate him highly. Calling out Charlo is only talk. He said he wanted Pacquiao too, but he never pushed for it. I don't know about that. Is that true? Did he not want it? Jermall is the real deal. Jermall is the real deal. Jermall is I think he needs to be credited. He's undisputed 154-pound champion, and now he wants to fight Tszyu. He's going to fight Tszyu in January. He wants all that smoke. You know, Jermall wants all the smoke. And Jermall might even light Crawford up. Who knows? You know, because Jermall is a good fighter. AJ can beat Usyk. If AJ fights like a brawler, he has a chance, great chance of KO Usyk. Not for me. I think Usyk is a monster. I don't think he's going to beat Usyk. Crawford legit has haters. Yeah, every fighter has haters, but Crawford has his haters for sure. So Joe Phillips says every call out from a boxer is talk. There's more than that. Just make the fights. Politics plays a big role in it. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. You know, I don't think any fighter is scared of any fighter. You can't really think that Terence Crawford is not afraid of. There's no way anyone can say Terence Crawford is afraid of Spence, and no other fighter is really afraid. I don't think they're afraid of each other. I think it's just the politics that get in the way making these fights, in my opinion. I agree with Joel. I'm not saying Jermall isn't the real deal, but it's dishonest to say Crawford is scared of his and that. No, he's not. Kelly says, Imran, you seem to believe everything Crawford says, but do you pay attention to the fact that he never does what he says? I don't know what you mean, but I don't know what you mean by that. Give me an example. Give me an example of what Crawford says and he doesn't do. Give me an example. Because I've always looked at Crawford, and Crawford, he came to England and fought his first world title against Ricky Burns. You know, Ricky Burns is a very good fighter. You know, a lot of people don't know about Ricky Burns. Ricky Burns was, you know, I think Ricky Burns was the 3-division world champion, if I'm not mistaken. He came here, ripped the title off him, beat him soundly. I remember watching that fight on Sky Sports. Beat him up, and outclassed Ricky Burns on points. And yeah, so I think since then I realized that Crawford was a good fighter. Jermall should be undefeated. I don't know how he lost to Harrison. They really shot me. No, I think Harrison won that first fight. I think he outboxed him. Harrison outboxed Charlo in the first year. I'd agree with that. David Price beat Tyson Fury in the amateurs. Of course, David Price beat Tyson Fury in the amateurs. You know, David Price had serious power. He had serious power. He had the kind of power to take your head off your shoulders. He had serious power in those hands. Did Pricey, but you know, unfortunately, his pro career didn't go as well as people expected. He was a bit gun shy, you know, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to achieve, in my opinion, big things in the pros. He had a lot of mental issues, I think. Ortiz v. Ruiz is a 50-50, even though Ortiz is almost 50 years of age. I still give him more of a chance than Ruiz. Yeah, I think you think Ortiz is a 50-50, or even though Ortiz is 50, I still give him more chance than Ruiz. Why? I don't know about that. I think Ruiz should win that. But you know, Ortiz, one thing that doesn't leave you even with age is your punch. A guy that left his promoter with the highest paid guarantees at welterweight to make undisputed fight is scared. That's very true. GK Blacks hit the nail on the head. He goes, a guy that left his promoter with the highest paid guarantees at welterweight to make an undisputed fight is scared. He absolutely spot on there. Shields v Marshall. I have to go with Shields. I think Shields is the more skilled fighter. I think she will beat Savannah Marshall on points. I think that's a great females fight, by the way. I think that's a fight which I think that's a fight that's really going to take female boxing to another level. I think there's a lot of interest in there. I think there's also that race element there, America v Britain and white v black. I think that those fights always have, you know, a huge interest. There's a lot of people here in the UK looking forward to that as well. I think that's going to be great. I think that's going to be a great way. I think those type of fights generally do pretty well, and I think this is a fight that's captured the imagination. You know, I've never been buzzing about a female fight. Even the Taylor Serrano fight, I wasn't really buzzing about it weeks before. I'm actually buzzing about this one. I'm actually looking forward. First time I'm ever looking forward to a female fight weeks before. You know, and that I think tells you how big this fight is. That also tells you the stature of this fight and the fact that both fighters are. It's an evenly matched like that. Look, I'm picking Shields, but Marshall has a very good chance of winning that fight. I really like that fight. I really do. I think it's a great fight. Price really floundered in the pro game. He did. You know, I think his mental makeup. I think unfortunately, I was talking to Ray about this, Joel, and I think he's obviously AJ achieved a lot, but I feel like Price was really on an upward stride, and it looked like he was gonna become world champion. He was a monster, and as soon as he took a defeat, just mentally wasn't able to come back from it. Whereas Anthony Joshua, same when he lost to Ruiz, I feel like Anthony Joshua's never been the same fighter after that. For some reason, why that is, I don't know, but I just feel like Anthony Joshua's never been the same man. Which is kind of what happened to David Price. But David Price, before he became world champion, he got found out. But he really was of someone that I didn't quite understand what happened to him, what happened to his career. Really underachieved. Simple maths. Andrade should fight Rob Brandt or Murata, both former world champions. If he wants to vacate and avoid Janabek, duck due to money not being scared. I don't think that's right. I think he should fight Janabek, irrespective. He's made good money in his career. Should do live fight chats or press conference? Yeah, I will. I'm gonna get into doing more lives now. I'm quite surprised no one came on today. Bro, why the hell should Andrade fight a guy that Janabek soundly destroyed in Rob Brandt? Very true. Very true. Crawford said he wanted big fights, but he never went there. The big fight where the big fights are. Like where didn't he go? He just left his promoter. Who was it that just mentioned it? He just left his promoter to, you know, he had massive guarantees at welterweight, but he left his promoter to get big fights. Come on, Kelly. You can't be criticizing Crawford like that. He's doing what he's left his promoter. He's trying to make the big fights. He's crossing the street. Shields outboxes Marshall for me. Joe, yeah, I'd have to agree with you, mate. I think I'd have to agree. Claude, how's it going, brother? Claude, you there? Claude, I think you're on mute. Unmute your mic. I think Claude's on mute. I can't hear you, Claude. Claude?
Me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How's it going?
Can't complain, my friend. So.
Yeah, how's things? Good?
Yeah, it's been good. You haven't done a live in a hot minute. Hired from doing your lives.
Yeah, I haven't done it for like a month. Like, you know, and I thought today I've got some spare time, so I'm definitely gonna do a live and talk all things boxing. Yeah, man, what have you made of this whole situation? I know you obviously stay in tune with what happens with Demetrius Andrade. Apparently he needs to fight Janabek now because this is mandatory, and you know, Jermall Charlo did call him out, but obviously it looks like the executive of Showtime has put that, you know, said no to that. It looks like Charlo, they may be forcing a Charlo Benavidez fight. So what do you think Andrade should do?
Got to take the fight, man. Got to
Yeah.
take the fight and put a beating on Janabek, and then people that he's still undefeated, and then come on, let's get it on. I don't know though. I think some other people have alluded getting older and beat Janabek. He's gonna take I think he's gonna take a beating against Janabek. Put on top, but I think he's gonna get caught with a couple of shots. He's not as fast. I can and think that the fight after, if he does get, if it's Charlo or if it's, I'm fearful for him. Let's put it. I'm worried about him if he does go in. I don't think he's the same Andrade of.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You're lagging. I think your connection's lagging. I don't know what's going off.
We'll try and get to a better spot. I'm not in the car, man. So.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Brendan's coming on as well. So yeah, you two both. What's going on, Brendan? You good?
What's up, man?
I'm all good, man.
Oh yeah.
You good?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just enjoying all this boxing talk for the morning. You already know. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of it, man? You want to see Andrade Janabek, don't you?
I've been wanting to see that fight for a good minute now. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I remember first seeing Janabek. It was actually it was the Rob Brandt fight. It was the Rob Brandt fight. Like I watched that live. I remember I think I was in college whenever I watched that. And I was impressed because I remember watching Rob Brandt fight. He actually fought Murata for one of those belts, and he beat him the first time. Got KO'd in like 2 rounds the second time, and yeah, that was pretty.
Murata's good though, eh? Murata gave Triple G a good fight. You know what I mean?
I will say this: Murata versus Andrade. That's not a bad idea, but. Gosh, why didn't he try to pursue that? Like when Murata actually had the title, I feel like Murata would have been. I mean, it's simply because he's for lack of a better word, he seems to be the most basic out of all of those trios. Not trio, but those four, whoever had the 4 belts.
Murata, Charlo, Andrade, and Golovkin.
Yeah. He's obviously the least versatile out of all of them. He's a pretty come forward fighter, but he had a belt. I honestly don't know why Charlo and Andrade weren't fighting tooth and nail to try to fight Murata, because it seems like a pretty easy fight. It's better than a Selecki or a Liam Williams or no disrespect to them, but. I mean, just come on,
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. But Claude, coming back to you, Andrade, he's obviously not been able to secure a big fight. He's not been able to get a big fight. The Janabek fight might be, if he gets knocked out by Janabek or he gets beaten by Janabek, as you're worried about his age and his old, now Janabek fills him in. Yeah. Andrade's going to be called a hype job and overrated. Like, there's a lot of pressure on him.
He gets my respect for at least fighting. That's what I said.
But we know that the fans aren't gonna give him respect for that. There's gonna be people calling him a hype job, overrated, that he was never that good and he fought someone good and he got flattened. So the point is that he's got to go in there and win, Claude.
Brendan,
don't you think?
He does. Is it better here? Am I lagging?
Yeah. I can hear you now. I can hear you now, clear.
Excellent, and that's exactly it. And it's a shame. It's almost like the Canelo fight. I just feel like now, if it's a good fighter and he poses a threat, wait a couple of years till he gets slightly out of his prime, and then fight him. And I beat him, right?
Yeah.
The way to do it. People want to see people fighting their. If he loses to personally, the out, but I will say that fight should have happened sooner, or he should have fought a top. So I'll say he took the L, depending on how the fight goes. But I think he's not in his prime anymore, man. Injured. How about Munguia? What's Munguia that guy doing now?
I
don't know. He's disappeared. Like he had a fight with Rosado, didn't he? And then he fought Jimmy Kelly.
He won, and then he disappeared. He was on the zone. Fight that against Andrade. These professional duckers.
Yeah, well, Munguia was gonna fight Charlo. Charlo made an offer to Munguia, and they turned that down as well. I don't know what's going on with Munguia. You know, Oscar De La Hoya hasn't got a lot of fighters, and I don't know whether he's protecting them. I don't know what he's doing, but it looks like if you look at the Virgil Ortiz and you look at Ryan Garcia, it's kind of the same thing there. I think Oscar De La Hoya has not got many fighters now, so he's trying to protect them and trying to get them as, you know, trying to get them easy paydays probably, or maybe trying to keep them stay relevant. If he puts them in a tough fight, they lose. Where, you know, Oscar hasn't got many fighters anymore.
And you know what? I think that point you said. You said
sorry
there a couple minutes ago, Imran, that fighters aren't. I don't think fighters are scared, but I think their promoters and maybe them to a sort of losing their a lot of them but they don't want to lose because then their value goes down, or they're perceived as less than, and I don't believe in that. I think you lose if he's a quality man is really that upset that he lost. Do you think Canelo is that really upset that Mayweather? Canelo just got bigger and better. Whether I don't think an O against or quality opponent makes you less of a. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Mayweather's a different story because Mayweather's Mayweather. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. So, you know, to lose to Mayweather, I don't think it hurts your credibility. But like, I would definitely say Canelo losing to Bivol hurt his credibility. Like, look how many people started calling Canelo a hype job and overrated as a result losing to Bivol. So the point is that, like, even though Bivol's quality, let's get that out there, Bivol's a great fighter, but it depends on who you lose to, how you lose to him. Because let's be honest, these big time fighters, big name fighters, any loss hurts your credibility. Like losing to Mayweather, everyone loses to Mayweather, so there's no shame in that. But when you lose to somebody else that you're perceived to beat, then that hurts you. Like if Andrade loses to Janabek, people are gonna give him a lot of stick, especially the fact that this is a guy that hasn't really been in with the top competition. People are going to hold him accountable, and he's going to be remembered for that. Because when we go through Andrade's career, there's not a lot to remember. There's not a lot of epic or big fights. You know, when we talk about, look, what makes fighters great, Claude, is the big fights, the big nights. What big nights and big fights has Andrade had that fans will remember in years to come? Nothing.
No. You're right. Here's the thing. He beats Jack. People still aren't going to get there for that. They really are.
I agree, yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So I understand why one really skeptical on taking. I don't want to take the fight because it's a low reward venture that he's stepping into. And no one knows it. Now, between losing to Janabek, going back and losing to, let's say, Charlo, right?
Yeah.
Quality, right? So he wins the game. If he loses if he lost that match, if that fight would be on him like he was horrible, right? You still think it depends on who you lose You know, you lose to a quality. Think you can
I think
live
you're,
and survive
I
that.
think you're lagging. I think they're saying that. I think you're lagging. They're saying that you're lagging a lot. They can't hear you clearly.
Yeah, kind of chopping up some.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's
gonna
really
come off.
Yeah.
yeah. Come off and come back on. Yeah. So yeah, Brendan, man, what do you think? What do you think?
I think
About
he should just fight him. Janet, I think he should just fight him at this point. Because right now it seems like he's stuck between the rock and the hard place. Because if he's not going to fight Janabek, who else is he going to fight? Because it seems like everybody else has something going on right now. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't want, when it's all said and done, because Andre has like 30 days to get something figured out before they take his title.
Yeah.
So if at the end of the day, when this is whatever conclusion we reach, and he doesn't fight Janabek, and he goes out and fights another Quigley or Williams, I don't want to hear nothing else about homie for a while. Like, it's my honest, viewpoint on it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a duck, hey. If he doesn't fight Janabek and then he goes and fights a no-namer again,
yeah,
I think it's a duck. Like, do you know when he went up to 168 to fight Zach Parker?
Yeah.
Do you think that was gas? Like, do you think he was doing that because he said he couldn't make weight, right?
Wait, who couldn't make weight? Who couldn't make
Andrade. He was struggling to make weight.
For 168?
No, for 160.
Yeah, okay. See, it was all starting to make sense because of that. I'm like, all right, he's been at 160 a long time. He ain't really fought nobody at 160 since he's been here. So he might as well goes up. I honestly thought that this was his opportunity to actually make like the proper move to fighting Canelo rather than just talking. Like, fight Zach Parker, become the blatant mandatory road to Canelo at some point. But yeah, he's pulled out, and because of an injury. My thing is, if he was really serious about that, why aren't you trying to get that fight back on as soon as possible so that you can be back in position to, fight Canelo if you beat Zach Parker? So why are you calling out Chris Eubank, who once again has something going on? It's something about these fighters always calling people out whenever they have something going on that's just mind-boggling to me. Like, as if people can't see through that smoke and mirror. Like,
I think the Eubank fight, I'm not interested. I think Janabek would beat Eubank easily. I
wouldn't mind seeing it, to be honest. Like when Chris Eubank, when Chris Eubank, he came back with Roy Jones like a year or two ago or whatever. A lot of people weren't really high on him. I like Chris Eubank simply for the fact that he's a fighter being trained by Roy Jones and is trying to emulate that style. So from an entertainment standpoint, I just want to see how far he can get with that or whatever. Kind of stunk it up a little bit with his last fight against Williams. Yeah, kind of stunk it up. Didn't try to finish. None of that, but just from an entertainment standpoint, I like him. I don't hold him as far as like rankings or anything like that. I don't hold him or like that. But yeah, I said, why not fight? Why not fight Janabek when he came? I was like, that looks like a good fighter. Why not fight Andrade? But Chris Eubank kind of showed me that he wasn't really trying to do nothing. He's
trying to fight welterweight, man.
Yeah, after that, I was like, okay, so that's another fighter that I need to just not take it seriously. Whenever they fight, I'll watch him or whatever, but I'm not holding my breath.
What do you make of that fight? Eubank v. Ben.
Honestly, all right. Especially what we just said just then, welterweight being called out by middleweight jazz. There was that little funk around it at first. Then I thought about how big the fight's actually going to be since the sons of Ben and Eubank.
Yeah.
I remember going back and watching those fights a while ago and just like without even knowing who was going to win. So it was like crazy suspense, especially that first fight. So I honestly can see how this, how to have that fight can be pretty big since it's their sons. And, they're both. I mean, Connor's more understandably a prospect. It's kind of sad that Eubanks is like a prospect.
Yeah.
No disrespect to him, but just keeping it real. But yeah, I'm watching it. I'm definitely watching that fight.
Who wins?
Connor's on a tear right now, man. But if Eubank, size is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Size is a thing. Are they fighting at a catchweight?
Yeah, 156.
Oh yeah. So hey, who do you think is going to benefit more?
I don't know because Eubank's never made below 160.
Never. Yeah,
So
he did fought at 68 before.
Yeah, he fought at 68 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like
should win, eh? He should win. He's so big compared to Conor.
He should stink it up and outbox him. Like if he's on his A game, he should. But then again, I don't know, man. That fight could be too exciting. Cause Conor, he comes forward. He's gonna make you work. Conor's gonna make you work. And I feel like best case scenario, instead of Eubank stinking it up, Conor ends up bringing the best out of Eubank, and we just see an insane war, just like we saw with the dads. So I'm actually
Ben wins. Just say Ben wins. Yeah. And Ben goes, you know what? Forget this. Forget welterweight. I'm going up to middleweight to fight Andrade and all those guys. You know what I mean?
And he's gonna. That's why I say he's been on a tear right now. He's on a tear, an absolute tear. So if I was to put money on it, I'd probably go with Ben because, like, he better be the underdog. He better be the underdog, you know?
Yeah, he is the underdog. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It'd be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a lot closer. But Chris Eubank's got a chin too, man. He got a chin. He got that's one thing people don't. That dude has a chin, you know. So.
But Brendan, I want to take you back. The last time two British fighters went up from welterweight to middleweight, Khan against Canelo and Golovkin against Brook, it didn't end too well, and their careers as a result finished. Especially Khan's career finished with that brutal knockout, and Brook got his eye socket smashed. Do you think that could obviously Eubank isn't Canelo or Golovkin, but at the same time you could probably say Connor's not Khan or Brook either at this point. So what would you say? Do you think there's a possibility that might happen to Conor?
Most definitely. Like I said, man, you can't get over the fact that the weight class is for a reason, but just looking at how they fight, Eubank, he's gonna, more so lean towards the side to just outboxing, But Ben's gonna, man, that dude's nasty, man. Every punch he throws there's lethal intention behind it. He's a finisher. He got some pretty good one punch stopping power too, man.
But can he do that against a bigger man though? Because if you look at a lot of his fights have been coming forward and being reckless at times, being aggressive, rough. But can you do that against a bigger man?
Okay, so the way Conor Ben was fighting a couple of fights ago compared to now, I feel like it's different. I feel like Ben is a little bit, he's more patient now and smarter with his shot selection and mixing it up. He ain't as reckless as his last fight was it against Chris Arreola or has he had a fight? Not Chris Arreola, Algieri.
It's Van Herden. He fought Van Herden.
Okay. He looked a lot better in those last two fights. But I think the fight before that, he had just the one where he had just cut off all his hair. It probably was
Granados.
Yeah, he was winging shots.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. So I turned an eye to that. Then he went ahead and fought Algeria. I was like, let's see how this looks, and he was a lot more patient, and he was there to pick him off with a good shot. And I was like, okay, let's see how he does against another opponent. I think Van Heerden. I guess it was kind of. I felt like Van Heerden was a bigger dude than Algeria.
Yeah. He's a 140 really.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of like, all right, let's see how he does against him. And he showed the same patience, the same ability to mix up his shots. But you take a dangerous fighter like him and you give them patience, that's when you have a problem. So if he just keeps on leveling up, I mean, if he stayed on this trajectory going into the Chris Eubanks fight, like, man, he has a big chance of landing something and like really hurting him, I feel. But you're just gonna have to see. You're gonna have to see if that power is gonna be enough to affect.
So one of my subscribers, Burning Desire, says I'm predicting Ben to win world titles at welterweight, light middleweight, and middleweight.
He's talented enough to do it. He's talented enough to do it. Like, just looking at him, talented. It's tough. It's very, very tough. That's tough. But I feel like by the time
who's he beating at welterweight though?
Welterweight, what? Van Heerden?
No. I'm saying who does he beat at welterweight in terms of world level?
Who does he beat? That's why I say I don't know. I immediately start thinking about like Crawford and Spence, Virgil, and Boots.
Ennis.
Yeah. I feel like
I wouldn't pick him to beat any of those guys.
Yeah, and it literally is going. It all rides on how he looks versus Eubank. Even then,
Yeah, I'd agree. What other fights are you looking forward to, man?
What other fights am I looking forward to? I mean, I mentioned it in the comments, man. I really want to see Shields versus Savannah Marshall. I really.
That's a good fight.
I really want to see that. If I was to put money on it, I'm putting my money on Savannah rather. Like, that girl, she can fight. She can fight. She got good skill. Like, she just reminded me of Fury. Think of some of the best things that Fury does. And you can sprinkle it all over her skill set. Like, herky jerky, in and out, good jab. You know what I'm saying? She sits down on what she sits down on, and like, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. But I went back and watched like a breakdown on Carissa Shields, like side by side. Doing my research, and I was like, wow, this girl is probably she's the best like boxer, female boxer. She's better than like all of them. Like, she's better than all of them as far as like the skill sets go. It just, her one problem is it's like she slaps a lot of punches. She just ain't, she just doesn't sit down on a lot of her punches. These girls, knockouts aren't everything, it's boxing. But, in this particular stylistic matchup, I feel like having that X factor is going to be it's going to be one of those things. I feel like it's a 50-50 fight. I ain't just too confident in calling it, because it's either Shields outboxes her or she's going to get outboxed or possibly hurt. It's either, I feel like it's 50-50. Like, going to be visually an amazing fight, though.
What other fights are up and coming that you're looking forward to? There's some Canelo Golovkin.
Man, yeah. I watched a little documentary about the third fight coming up not long ago, and I said a while ago when this fight was first announced, but really before it was like official, that I would not sleep on trilogy fights no more, because after that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3 fight, I was shitting on it beforehand, mainly because I was upset because I wanted to see Undisputed with AJ and Fury. Fury messed that up rightfully so. But that fight was so good. I was like, you know what? I'm no longer hating on the trilogy. I'm never hating on the rematch. You just never know how good the fight's gonna be. And I was really, really eager to see how Triple G would look against Murata. I was very eager to see, like, you know, and he did good, but man, it feels like Canelo's he's gonna serve him up on the platter. I feel like he's gonna serve him up on the platter. Even if it is Triple G, I feel like at this point, if Canelo is smart, doesn't go in there and try to headhunt like he did against Bivol and like actually boxes and throws the jab and do all the other shit that we hype up Canelo for, he should make it look, I ain't gonna say easy, but it's gonna be a convincing win. It's gonna be a convincing, very, like, without any controversy, pretty much. You know, like the other fights. You know, I think Triple G won the first one. Canelo barely eat the second one. Could have went either way, but I feel like the way that they've been looking as of late, I just feel like Canelo, he's gonna throw to the body. First thing he's gonna do, start throwing to the body, and immediately it's gonna be all she wrote. Because Murata was touching, it's like every time Murata would touch Triple G to his body, you clearly see it taking a physical toll on him. He was still eating. He was eating plenty of shots up top. You know, to be like 40 plus and still have a diamond chin like that. That's impressive. But you know, that body, that you can't do nothing about that body. You do all the sit-ups you want, but the proof was just in the pudding in that fight against Murata. So, but no, that's one I'm waiting to see that one. I'm waiting to see that one. AJ versus Usyk too. I'm actually